For centuries, relics have captured the imagination of the faithful and the curious alike. From splinters of the true cross to the bones of saints, sacred objects serve as physical bridges to the spiritual world. Yet among all relics, none is as mysterious or as debated as the Shroud of Turin. This ancient linen cloth, measuring over 14 feet in length and just over 3 feet in width, bears the faint image of a man. His body shows the marks of terrible suffering, scourging, wounds in the wrists and feet, blood flowing from the scalp, and a deep injury in the side. To millions of Christians, this cloth is nothing less than the burial shroud of Jesus Christ himself. To skeptics, it is the most convincing and perhaps the most ingenious hoax of the Middle Ages. The shroud is more than just a piece of fabric. It is an object that has been tested, photographed, prayed over, and argued about for centuries. Some call it the greatest relic of Christianity. Others insist it is simply an artifact of human invention. We at Bible Storybook will explore the long history, the scientific investigations, the theories, and the unshakable devotion surrounding the Shroud of Turin. By the end, you may not have all the answers, but you will understand why this relic continues to fascinate and inspire. If you're fascinated by history, faith, and mysteries that defy explanation, make sure to subscribe to Bible Storybook so you don't miss our future explorations into the most captivating stories of the Bible and beyond. Chapter 1. Origins and Early History. The first solid record of the Shroud dates back to the mid-14th century. Around 1354, a French knight named Geoffroy de Charny displayed the cloth in a small church in Lire, France. Pilgrims traveled from near and far to see the haunting image of a crucified man, and devotion quickly spread. But controversy was never far behind. The local bishop, Henri de Poitiers, declared the relic a fraud, claiming it had been cunningly painted. In 1389, another bishop, Pierre d'Arcis, wrote to Pope Clement VII, alleging the shroud was the work of an artist. The Pope responded cautiously. He allowed the cloth to be displayed, but instructed that it be described only as a representation of Christ's burial cloth, not the genuine article. Despite these doubts, the shroud's fame grew. It was passed down through the Charny family before eventually coming into the possession of the House of Savoy, a powerful dynasty in Europe. By 1578, the relic had been moved to Turin, Italy, where it has remained ever since. The shroud's survival is remarkable. In 1532, while housed in Chambéry, France, a devastating fire nearly destroyed it. The heat melted the silver reliquary holding the cloth, dripping molten metal onto the folded fabric. This left a series of symmetrical burn marks, still visible today. Nuns carefully repaired the damage, sewing patches and a backing cloth to preserve it. Even as the shroud gained prominence, its early history remained a mystery. Where had it been before the 14th century? Why were there no references to it in earlier centuries? Some historians believe it may be linked to the image of Edessa, or Mandylion, a famous relic described in Byzantine records. According to legend, this cloth bore the miraculous image of Christ's face and was housed in the city of Edessa, in modern-day Turkey, from the 6th century. In 944, it was transferred to Constantinople, where it was described as a cloth showing the full body of a man. When Crusaders sacked Constantinople in 1204, references to such relics disappear. Could the Shroud of Turin be the same cloth, resurfacing in France a century later? Though unproven, the possibility continues to intrigue scholars. Whether it traveled from the ancient Near East to Constantinople, or whether it appeared suddenly in medieval Europe, the shroud's early journey remains one of its greatest mysteries. Chapter 2. The Image on the Cloth. At first glance, the Shroud of Turin looks like an old piece of linen, faintly discolored by time. But closer inspection reveals the ghostly image of a man. The figure appears to be about 5 feet 10 inches tall, with a beard, mustache, and long hair parted in the middle. His body shows signs of severe trauma. Dozens of scourge marks, consistent with Roman flagellation. Bloodstains on the scalp, suggesting a crown of thorns. Wounds in the wrists and feet, consistent with crucifixion. A large blood flow from the right side, matching the spear wound described in the Gospel of John. The bloodstains align perfectly with gravity, as if the cloth had wrapped a body lying flat. But what is truly remarkable is the image itself. In 1898, an amateur photographer named Secondo Pia took the first photographs of the shroud. When he developed the negatives, he was stunned. The photographic negative revealed a detailed, lifelike positive image of the man's face and body, much clearer than what is visible to the naked eye. It was as if the cloth contained a built-in photographic record centuries before photography existed. Subsequent studies have shown that the image is not made of paint or dye. Instead, it appears to be a superficial discoloration of only the outermost fibers of the linen threads. The image has no brush strokes, no directionality, and no clear explanation. Forensic experts have examined the blood patterns, concluding that they are consistent with a real body. Anatomical details, such as the placement of wounds and the flow of blood, suggest authenticity rather than artistry. Still, skeptics argue that the image could be the work of a clever medieval artist. But if so, how did such an artist create an image with properties that mimic photographic negatives, centuries before cameras were invented? The mystery of the image continues to baffle both believers and skeptics alike. Chapter 3. Scientific Investigations. In 1978, a group of American scientists formed the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or STURP. Granted unprecedented access, they spent 5 days conducting detailed studies of the cloth. Their conclusions were striking. No pigments, paints, or dyes formed the image. The image was not the result of brush strokes, printing, or staining. The discoloration penetrated only the outermost surface of the fibers, less than 1/5 of a micron deep. The image contained three-dimensional information, unlike any known artwork. They also found traces of pollen embedded in the fibers. Some pollen species were native to the Middle East, including plants found in Israel and around Jerusalem. Textile experts noted that the weave of the cloth was consistent with ancient weaving techniques, though not exclusive to the 1st century. Despite these findings, the team could not explain how the image was formed. One scientist called it a mystery wrapped in an enigma. The STURP report concluded, "The shroud is not the product of an artist. The image is that of a real human form of a scourged, crucified man. It is not a painting, but they stopped short of declaring it authentic. Science could describe what it was not, but not what it was." Since then, dozens of other studies have been conducted. Chemical tests, digital imaging, and forensic analysis have all added layers of detail. Yet the question remains unresolved. How did this image come to be? Chapter 4. Radiocarbon Dating Controversy. In 1988, scientists hoped to settle the question once and for all. 3 laboratories, in Oxford, Zurich, and Arizona, conducted radiocarbon dating on samples of the cloth. Their results dated the fabric to between AD 1260 and 1390. This seemed to confirm that the shroud was a medieval creation. Headlines around the world proclaimed, "Shroud proven fake." But the story did not end there. Critics argued that the samples may have come from a portion of the cloth repaired after the fire of 1532, introducing newer material. Others pointed out that centuries of handling, exposure to smoke, and contamination could have skewed the results. Later, textile experts identified unusual weaving patterns in the sampled area, suggesting it was not original to the cloth. Some scientists have proposed reweaving or invisible mending techniques may have blended new threads with old. To this day, the 1988 radiocarbon dating remains one of the most controversial episodes in shroud research. While many take it as decisive proof of medieval origin, others argue it reflects a flawed sample rather than the true age of the cloth. Chapter 5. Theories of Image Formation. How did the image form? Countless theories have been proposed. Some suggest natural chemical reactions between the body and the linen, similar to the Maillard reaction that browns bread. Others propose scorching from contact with a heated statue or bas-relief. Still others speculate about primitive photography using sunlight and chemicals. But none of these methods reproduce the unique properties of the shroud's image: superficial discoloration, three-dimensional encoding, and photographic negativity. More speculative theories involve radiation bursts, perhaps linked to the resurrection itself. In these views, a burst of energy could have imprinted the image on the cloth. While fascinating, such theories remain outside the realm of testable science. Despite centuries of investigation, no one has been able to replicate the image with all its peculiar characteristics. It remains a mystery without parallel in art or science. Chapter 6. Religious and Cultural Significance. For the faithful, the Shroud of Turin is far more than an artifact. It is a sacred relic that brings them closer to Christ's Passion. The Catholic Church does not officially declare it authentic, but it allows veneration. Popes have spoken of the shroud as a mirror of the gospel, encouraging reflection on Christ's suffering and sacrifice. Public exhibitions of the shroud draw millions of pilgrims. In Turin, visitors wait in long lines to glimpse the cloth, often moved to tears by its silent testimony. Artists through the centuries have been influenced by the shroud's haunting face. Many depictions of Christ, particularly in Eastern Orthodoxy, bear a striking resemblance to the features seen on the linen. Whether genuine or not, the shroud has shaped devotion, art, and culture in profound ways. Chapter 7. Modern Research and Digital Analysis. With advances in technology, researchers continue to uncover new details. Three-dimensional imaging has shown that the shroud encodes depth information, as if the image were mapped from a real body. Digital enhancements reveal anatomical precision in the face and wounds. Spectroscopic analysis has detected traces of substances consistent with human blood, though debates continue over contamination. As technology improves, scientists hope to shed more light on the shroud's mysteries. Yet, with every discovery, new questions arise. Chapter 8. The Mystery Endures. So where does this leave us? Science has not proven the shroud authentic. The radiocarbon dating points to the Middle Ages, yet flaws in the testing raise doubts. The image defies easy explanation, resisting every attempt at reproduction. For believers, the shroud is a profound witness to the Passion of Christ. For skeptics, it is a brilliant forgery that continues to deceive. What cannot be denied is the shroud's power to inspire. It bridges faith and science, history and mystery, devotion and doubt. At Bible Storybook, we invite you to consider the evidence and decide for yourself. Could this be the very cloth that wrapped the body of Jesus, or is it the work of human ingenuity? The Shroud of Turin remains one of history's greatest enigmas. It is a relic that speaks without words, drawing the gaze of scientists and seekers alike. Perhaps its mystery is its greatest gift. For in a world that craves certainty, the Shroud reminds us that faith and wonder often live in the space between answers. If you've enjoyed this journey with us, please remember to subscribe to Bible Storybook for more deep explorations into the Bible's greatest mysteries and stories. And before we end, one final reminder. Subscribe to Bible Storybook and join our community as we continue to uncover the wonders of history, faith, and Scripture together. The mystery of the Shroud endures, and so does the search for truth.